And I am muted. So today I am going to be continuing my adventures with the landscape difficulty system in Lord of the Rings Online, because I have been having so much fun with it since it has come out to all of these servers in Update 36, and its modified form is how I would call it, a little bit revamped, but the actual difficulty and all that sort of stuff is the same as before. So today the focus is going to be on my champion, and there are actually a very few interesting things on this champion that I am super excited to check out, even though the stream is starting so late that it's practically my bedtime. I first of all am just curious actually how it goes playing normally on tier 3 with the champion, because a lot of my previous testing has been in little spurts on classes doing different scenarios, missions, solo instances, things that I could control reasonably with the characters I had. But as far as regular questing, my experience is mostly on the Warden, who I actually did like a 2-hour or whatever stream on just that one character. So today's the champion's turn. This will be class number 2 out of 11 or whatever in terms of that. We are starting on tier 3 of difficulty. Forgot I already had that set. And then we are... Yeah, I was going to get my town services, but I have that. I'm actually prepared. That's kind of crazy. So I see there's probably a concert going on, which seems to be just about every time I'm in this area. There's a good chance there's a concert or at least some roleplay stuff going on Langevall for people interested in that stuff. But I did want to say hello to Chase and Void Ranger. Void Ranger, you said you started a captain to try to landscape difficulty, and it makes the overworld feel tougher, which is nice. I agree. Very nice. The rewards, it's kind of hard for them to do rewards, given that it's probably very easy to abuse if they gave anything major in terms of the rewards or benefits. But for me, the biggest thing is 5% extra virtue XP if you're on at least tier 3. So that's... besides just the general fun and satisfaction of being on higher difficulty, that is the biggest thing that my characters end up getting out of it. Okay, so for the benchmark for today's character and adventures, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, I'm going to be acquiring this character's legendary items. So it'll be very interesting to compare the before and after you get your allies being relatively similar level, same gear, same virtues for the most part, and all that sort of stuff. Just changing that I have acquired the new legendary items with the new ally system. So we're going to see how that really changes this character and his power level in terms of difficulty. So for that, I'm going to be doing a benchmark of an on-level solo Will of the Willow run, so we do have the difficulty system activated, and the benchmark is basically how far I can get in the first boss. It's not going to be a perfect experiment because there's of course variability in how well I play the character and all sorts of different things like that that are tough to account for. But wait, that's so confusing. Why is regional chat showing in like in Fellowship and Raid tab? I know you all can't see that, but okay, that's bothering me. Anyway, as you can see, it's not even that easy to get to the first boss. We could actually pick up the summoning horn and summon the ally. I think we actually need her out anyway. So we will do that to get to the first boss. But as far as like having an easy to access boss fight that I could just do, I think that Will of the Willow provides the best opportunity in my limited testing without the NPC, even without the difficulty system. It's actually not the easiest thing in the world. So it should provide us, I think, a decent mark for where the character is and how just getting my allies will maybe increase the ease. That's a bad way to put it. Decrease the difficulty of soloing this. We will see. I anticipate the allies will have a pretty big impact, but I don't actually know, and I don't know how big of an impact. So we'll both get the measurement from just how far I actually get, and then more qualitative with how difficult it feels as I play through it. When you dismiss, goodbye. Okay, no more NPC help. Y'all can verify that. Jigsaw, crafting carryalls. This character doesn't need any of that. Look, he has like 7 free inventory spaces. I have no need for a carry-all of any sorts, especially not crafting. But we're going up against Golmuk Damp Mold. I have no idea if I can solo this. On tier 3, I feel like that'd be quite the feat for this character. I am just going to go in straight up redline. More of a DPS test than anything. I could even do combat analysis to see how much DPS I do. If I really wanted to test like just the LI, that's something I could do, but just because I got myself curious, I will have this up. I think you can hide it with that. I'll probably hide it until we test again, and then hopefully at that point I will remember, but I'll just have that up. Okay, so the problem is I also don't know how to play champion, so that one gives me increased crit hit chance. Okay, so I like that one. It is a short duration, very short duration. This one is a build up of damage, so we'll probably start with that one and then use these. Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay, hopefully I don't get one shot. That actually is a concern, but I will try to use all my heals and everything. Like, I'll use all the tools I have available. I'm not just going to go pure DPS smacking the boss type deal. Looks like I'm not getting very far. All right, there we go. I think I got a screenshot, but we didn't get that far. I wasn't expecting to get that far, but we got a little bit of a warm-up and gameplay, and we also did get our first run. I think the number on the left, is that DPS? Yes, so I did about 1,000 DPS. I have no idea how that is for a random level 45 champion on tier 3 in this particular scenario, but seems pretty decent to me. So I'll leave the instance, and now we can go on our quest to acquire the legendary items. But there is actually a problem. Another exciting thing about today is I actually have to level up. Technically, I can start this at level 45, which normally I'd be perfectly fine with, but since I'm on tier 3 difficulty, I thought it'd be good to get at least one level up so mobs are mostly orange instead of red. Red would be 5 levels above me. And I think the main reason for that... Oh, actually I have a quest turn in here already at the mission camp for, what would that be, Wildwood? So I'll probably do that. But the exciting thing is that I'll actually be under-leveled with the difficulty system, which is another thing that I wanted to test. So we're knocking out a whole bunch of stuff in this stream. Ideally, it will actually work out and go well. Actually, being productive today. I've actually been fairly productive today overall. I've also been standing and walking a whole lot today, so I don't know how long I'll be able to standing for this stream of Standing Stone Games game. Anyway. And the cat on the left, Jigsaw, is paying attention very closely. She probably was. See, the thing is, if I even get close to touching her, she will probably be up here bugging for attention. So I might try to delay that. Will this level me up? Nope, we do have to do a mission. There's an easy, quick mission, though, right here. It's Foul Fang Stand, so we'll run that one. Also, hopefully y'all enjoy the later stream. I know back in the day, this used to be a more normal time for me to stream. It's after 8 o'clock for me. PM. And I know a lot of my more recent streams have been much earlier, well, earlier to much earlier in the day. So hopefully you'll enjoy a different time, a little bit of variety, or maybe you hate it, but that's okay. You can always watch these whenever. It just won't be live then. Also, I do this basically every time it seems like I run this mission. I forgot the summoning horn. Because we have to summon Rad Drill, so stuff can actually spawn and we can actually complete the mission. That's one thing that the Before the Shadow missions really improved, is you don't need an NPC. I don't even think there are NPCs. You just like do the mission and then you talk to the scout at the end. I think a slight improvement could be not even having to talk to the scout at the end. Maybe it could be an optional thing for faster travel, but yeah. Also, hopefully this fight goes well. We do have the NPC and they have OP heals, but Something I didn't really think about is if this would actually be tough, but I don't think it is. With NPCs, heals, and all that sort of stuff, I'm taking hardly any damage here. Although they are in the healing circle, maybe I should do something about that. Svalfang also has a corruption, so he's probably not taking a ton of damage. See, this is actually turning it into somewhat of a fair fight. This character is super OP, at least I feel like he is. I think that's partially champion, and he has really good stuff for level 40, but he's a little bit higher level than 40 now, but he actually has some really great gear. Even the jewelry is not that bad. A lot of it's from the Angle of Mythathel, which actually has modern stats. So not only is my jewelry better than a normal character would, okay, that piece is bad, but compared to a normal character that I would have, this character is just outfitted a whole lot better. And he's can basically crush anything. Maybe not quite on tier 9, but on tier 3 definitely he demolishes, which so far is still holding up true. Hey, we also had free XP from this if I bothered to do that when I logged in. I mean, it's 8k, but that's 8k more than nothing. Okay, now at this point I have to decide how I want to get to Eregion, because that is where you get your legendary items. For anybody that's maybe not 100% sure on the process with the new LI system, that's perhaps another benefit of this stream besides all the stuff that I'm testing. If you are interested in that, that is what we will be doing. The full process, just randomly picking it up and completing it all the way through. So we have to go to Eked Dunnen, and there's an easy way to do that with the LOTRO store. I'm guessing there is a map there. Also on the collections map, if you might have to have discovered it for this one. Let's see, I forget exactly. No, I could spend 5 mithril coins and travel there if you really want to get there and spend 5 mithril coins. But this character actually has the Gwingris travel unlocked, and his milestone is in Tornhad, which is in the Angle of Mythathel and Southern Trollshaws. So I have pretty easy access there, and if you've done the Swanfleet or been to the Swanfleet area on your characters, you can also enter from Western Eregion to, actually Inadoith would be a little bit tough, but you can go from Western Eregion, yes, to regular Eregion. Pretty straightforward there, and go to Eked Marobel and go all the way here to Eked Dunnen. So there's quite a few options, some safer, some faster. Perhaps slower would be the classic travel through from Rivendell basically to what will eventually take you through this area. Actually, it's up in this area to Gwingris. There's also this one that I am kind of forgetting exactly where that leads, to be honest, but you do have a couple options there as well. So it looks like for me, the best bet is probably Rivendell if I had to guess. Rivendell Stables. I can always travel back here if I need to. Jigsaw, thank you for joining the stream. Well, you could. Okay, chicken broth's almost cooled off. It was kind of weird. I wouldn't have called myself cold or chilly, but not as hot as usual. But as soon as I start the stream and started preparing for it, I felt my comfort level decreasing. But anyway, that aside. Oh yeah, so I thought chicken broth would be a good drink besides just being good for my mouth to stop it from getting sticky and dry. But it's not that hot, which I'm perfectly fine with. Where are we going, Gwingris? Act like I've played this game before. Brandon, you said you're gonna lurk with me on the background while you play. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that, even though you just got legendary items on your captain like 10 minutes ago. I wonder how that went on captain if you were so low and playing with the difficulty system. I know my captain that I have been leveling is super low level, and I boosted that mid-level captain, so I don't know what the revamp with the kind of mid-level captain experience is like. And I don't even know too much what the overall experience is like until I actually get one of those two captains a little bit more settled into the world. All right, and at this point, we could take a super slow travel down there on foot, or I could spend the mithril coin swift travel. And this is the reason I have mithril coins, so I can do that. That saved me 4 mythical coins, by the way, doing my roundabout travels to... Oh, where was I? Ingla Mythathel to Rivendell to not Eked Gwingris, just Gwingris. And now I can go to Dunnan Camp. You're playing on Daring. I don't remember what tier that is, maybe tier 2? But yeah, standalone, that stance probably helps a ton. If I remember correctly, you get it probably mid-30s or something like that. Oh, that's the rice cooker. Apparently my rice is done. That's another thing I was doing just before the stream. I have had some delay, mainly last night. I kind of forgot about it, but I'm planning to cook chicken overnight tonight. And I've had some delay in that, and I want to make rice to go with it. So the rice is going to go in the refrigerator while the chicken cooks overnight. Okay, so for legendary items, you want to talk to this dwarf and get Book 1, Chapter 1. This will be Volume 2, Book 1, Chapter 1, and you go through the walls of Moria. So we have to talk to Tolk, who I believe is inside the walls of Moria, but he might actually be outside. I honestly forget. I'm pretty sure he's inside, though. Yeah. I did want to check if there's anything I wanted to do in camp. I know my inventory is really full, and it's actually only going to get way worse. So I think I'm going to do a little bit to actually fix my inventory, even though there is definitely no problem with it. And I definitely don't need crafting carry-alls. I can still fix my inventory. Sort of. Maybe. Okay, we're making progress. I actually have quite a few things unlocked there to sell.
Make your request with haste.
Okay, all that looks good, and I will sell that all. We have, wow, a full row of inventory space. That is crazy. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Oh, I also can destroy all these cloaks. We can have more than one row. What a fancy character. Oh, and I can learn this mount. Unearthed Kingdom. Do I want that mount? Oh, I think that's why I didn't know if I wanted that for this character. Clearly, I don't play him a lot if I still haven't decided what I want to use with that mount. I think I have another similar mount that I got from like a Hobbit gift pick a mount thing, and I don't know. It's just sitting in my inventory because I don't know who I want to use it on and what mount I even want or whatever. Wait, did I never turn that in? After completing that mission, I never turned that in? Really? Okay. Anyway, for this part of the Walls of Moria, we do want our quest tracker. Unfortunately, I don't think you can shrink it. I think it's at this huge vertical size just like forever now. But there are a whole bunch of stones, if I remember correctly, and then a whole bunch of cravens in this little area. Floaty names will help. But yes, this is the tier 3 difficulty system with mobs 4 levels above you. I realize these are little greeny mobs. Oh, you don't actually have to pick up the stones. That's a different part. For some reason, I feel like you used to have to pick these things up. Oh, we're getting jagged talons. We're not even getting stones now. Maybe that is a future quest, though, where you pick those up. Anyway, clearly these greenies are still super easy on tier 3. I'm expecting perhaps a little bit of pushback, and maybe I'll have to be a little bit safe when we go to the far southwest camp, which, by the way, I am intending to do all the side quests. I know usually about all but one time, I think there was one time somewhat recently that I went through and just quickly acquired a character's allies and did not actually do all the side quests, but despite it being way late today, I have confidence that we can get through it without it taking like 2, 3, 4 hours. 2 hours, maybe. Hopefully, I think an hour or so would be reasonable. That would work best for me to actually do this, all the grand plans I have for after the stream and before I go to bed, to get all that stuff done. That would be quite helpful. Okay, so I think one of these guys... Actually, they should all... This guy... Yeah, he has a quest I don't mind doing. I forget what order I like to do those in, but eventually there is a warg quest as a spoiler that goes southwest there. So that could be convenient timing. I think usually, though, I head straight there. I say usually, but it's actually been a long time since I've taken a character through Walls of Moria. Before, my Hunter would have been the latest, but before that, it's been a good couple years at least. Did my Runekeeper and Warden on Landreval. I guess technically I did my Lore Master on, I said Landreval, on Anor. And then technically I must have done my Lore Master as well. Lore Master might have actually been before my Warden, because that was funky.
The shadow of Mordor will not long fill the halls of Khazad-dûm.
We have seen naught of Durin's Bane. Beware his journey into Moria.
May Durin return soon to his home.
And we'll see about switching to Yellow Line at some point, but I really just honestly enjoy Red Line Champion a lot. Definitely my favorite spec for Champion. I also can't believe it, but I'm forgetting the way, but I think this should work. But yeah, green mobs, I think it's pretty clear at this point that even on tier 3, that green mobs are no challenge at all on tier 3. I'm kind of curious how this would go on tier 9. It's the type of thing that actually makes me wish that you could change the difficulty on the fly. Like, just for this cave, I could go to tier 9 to fight these lizards. And then once I get out of this cave, I could go to tier 3. But I think that would give a lot of less weight on your choice. And I think tier 3 is perfectly fine for this. I don't mind smashing some lizards. Although it really is, like, just imagine if I were on tier 0. Like, if I didn't increase the difficulty, I think, from what I remember previously, I would do about, I forget exactly what, I thought I had to talk to somebody on this level, but maybe not. But I would be doing about twice the damage, from what I remember. The difference between no difficulty and tier 3. Your character is basically half as strong. Take twice as much damage and deal half as much. Which is really crazy considering how fast I'm going through this. Okay, so Transmog Spears in the one-handed slot. I'm actually not 100% sure with Champion, because it even says it's not shown because the corresponding slot is empty, which is not the case. But let's see. Yeah, that must be a visual bug because I clearly have that spear. So the spear I have equipped is Swift Long-Bladed Spear. Don't ask me where I got that. I have no idea where it's from. It's just a random yellow spear I had. Probably from a random quest or something, or even picked up. The actual spear I have equipped is a spear that I crafted for this character on my woodworker. You can use spears on champions. I believe they share the animations, though. They don't have special animations, so I think they share the animations of swords. I just like having a spear. So it might look a little bit odd, the attacks I'm using on the character, as if I were wielding a sword, but I still like it. This is a great place for the lizard deed, by the way, for anybody that does deeds in LOTRO and is interested in the Eregion lizard deed. That is a thing. This is a great place. Oh, and I do have a weapon aura on it, apparently. I have the weapon aura of the Dead City, so that's from Minas Morgul. I don't remember which bundle, but one of the expansion bundles that you would get on not the LOTRO store, but the LOTRO market. It has that deathly aura. The hammer has the lightning one from Gundabad, I believe. I think that was Gundabad. Yeah, it wouldn't have been War of Three Peaks, I don't think. Maybe. One of those two. But yeah, the LI that I get on this champion really could be a spear, but I forget if a spear is an option or not. If spear is an option, that is what I would get. Okay, we found the 4th dwarf. We are ready to jump. I think we killed enough lizards, maybe. And then hello, Mr. Wadi the Lemon Dragon.
Time has come to drive forth the orcs from our kingdom.
I feel like I've heard of Lemon Dragon before. Is that a thing, or am I just making that up because of your name? The main thing with the different LIs is just cosmetically. Now, technically, some races do have certain benefits with certain weapon types. So, champion, yeah. This is actually, Okay, we actually have a problem here. I mentioned that I would get spear just because I like dual wielding, but if I actually wanted to optimize this character, I would get a two-handed sword because that is two-handed because that's better than one-handed with the new ally system and just much easier to keep up with while leveling. And the sword, high elf, yeah, I'm a high elf on this character, gets extra 5% sword damage.
Your tidings are grim. We're few enough dwarves as it
But
is.
until then, going here to get my legendary weapons, have this wonderful hammer. Technically, characters could use that further offhand though if they get a one-handed ally. But all I gotta say is rip my spear and hammer champion. I normally not the biggest fan of hammers in this game. I think the ornate Levithron one here actually doesn't look that bad though. But this makes me feel like a shaman in World of Warcraft. I don't think I've played a character dual wielding hammers ever, but I kind of like this, to be honest. I am definitely vibing with this right now.
May Durin return soon to his halls.
Now I just need lightning and fire to come out of my hammers and I'll feel like a real shaman. What do I think? Is Manhand's going to beat me through this?
Shadow of Mordor will not long fill the halls of Khazad-dûm.
He has a lot more health than me. Yeah, spears are not two-handed weapons. They're one-handed weapons that can only be equipped in the main hand, so you can't dual-wield spears. That might be the best thing ever if you could.
Fought the orcs from our kingdom.
So unfortunately with the Mariner, it's a little bit known, I think, what weapon they'll use. I think it's one-handed swords is like known, and maybe daggers. From what I remember, so probably pretty similar weapons to champions. I don't know if it's been found if they dual wield. I would suspect if they use a one-handed weapon, they would dual wield, but I think it's possible that they don't, depending on how they design the class. But just when I think of Mariner and why my picture is completely different from how it would actually fit in LOTRO and Middle Earth is when I envision a Mariner, I picture not a pirate, but a trident wielding aqua person thing. Basically somebody who uses a trident, not really a pirate. I'm trying to think just from other games. I feel like there is, for some reason I feel like it was in Rift, that maybe it was Guild Wars 2, but I don't know if Trident was a weapon in Guild Wars 2. But basically water abilities, like maybe a little bit water-like magic or magic-like water abilities combined with Trident gameplay. That's the type of thing that I picture for some reason. Which I think would be really cool to have in LOTRO, but I just don't see their Mariner, especially since we know it's basically a Corsair that's just not called a Corsair because you can't have a class called Corsair. Oh, I broke my leg. All the rock jumping fun, and that punishment is not as severe as it used to be, but really hinders your speed.
We have gone through so many.
Okay, help Bori with tasks. Yes, that's right, we go east.
Both branches and stones to repair these pickaxes.
By the way, speaking of east, in a video that I'm planning for hopefully the near future, I know I have the Mariner video, which I have to work on, and I'm planning to work on tomorrow at least, a portion of the day. Oh yeah, I already have 2 of the Eregion stones. So yeah, somehow already collected 2 of these. Maybe he already had 2. I kind of forget. But then the sticks I think we get up north. But anyway, I'll have a video on... Don't know what the animation was. That did not work well with a hammer while it attacked. Let's try that again. Yeah, that... I guess it kind of works, but it's just really odd with a hammer. It's also, a lot of the champion animations are actually super fast now, because that's really what the skill time in LOTRO is based on. Not a global cooldown, but animation time. So if they want classes to feel like good, fast pace, and say more modern, you have to have the animations be like very fast, where it looks to me unnaturally fast, but that's how you get the faster paced gameplay. But Wild Attack is just so randomly slow, even compared to Devastating Strike, which is a lot more impactful, does a lot more damage. It's just such a slow, heavy hit feel, and then it's a weak attack. Yeah, Feral Strikes is slow as well. That one just used for corruption removal, though. I don't think I've ever intentionally used that outside of corruption removal. Maybe back in the day when it was Savage Strikes and I was newer to the game, I remember using that quite a bit, but it might also have been different back then. I don't even know, is it still called Savage Strike at levels before it has the corruption removal, or do you just get this ability at like level 20 or whatever now? Actually, I have no idea. Guess it's time to level a new champion. I'm still one-shotting these with something like Devastating Striker. That guy did 6.5k. That would one-shot these guys 3 times over. Oh, and there's deflected. But even with these mobs 4 levels above me on tier 3, I think partially just because the champion is so strong, and also because this character is, compared to a lot of my others, at least somewhat decently geared. And these are green mobs again, but we are on tier 3, right? No. Wait, where did the difficulty go? I don't have the debuff anymore. What happened to it? Maybe we don't actually have that. Wait, no, we had in Svalfang. That guy gained his corruptions and everything. Oh, it's Walls of Moria. Is there no difficulty in Walls of Moria? Is this considered like a story instance, so they don't actually have it? Is that what's going on? Is that why I'm so confused? Because we also haven't seen any Eye of Sauron or anything like that. I'm just kind of now realizing it. So what I was talking about earlier with this being half damage, taking twice as much damage and all that sort of stuff that I have observed on tier 3, that might not be the case right now. Because in story instances, they actually don't have the, like, they take off your difficulty. The difficulty doesn't apply in them. So this must count as a story instance, even though I've always thought of it as more open world than anything. It's not technically not, but they've really designed it to basically emulate a regular open world zone, just called Walls of Moria. That's kind of interesting. Also, Spear is back. I don't know why I'm getting these weapons, or I'm going to replace them in a moment anyway, but we just got 2 clean upgrades there. Maybe I should test the instance with these 2 new weapons as a more like up-to-date on-level fair comparison. So you also observed, Brandon, that it felt easy even on daring? I think that would explain it. I was so excited to test tier 3 and Walls of Moria specifically. Yeah, tier 9 is very tedious in my experience as well. It'd have to be for something just very specific. Who is Firmafar? I have no idea. There are a decent number of new-ish people in the kin, is how I describe them, that I don't keep up with the names all that well. Hey, we caught back up to man hands. Oh, here's the Wolves Madness. And Piper is awake. I'm already tired of sitting. It's been like half an hour. Although, to be fair, I've probably walked basically in 2 hours today. I don't know in distance, but I kind of know in time. which really is not that much, but my legs are just tired, basically. I'm just trying to make excuses to not stand anymore, even though I actually prefer standing. See, to me, that's what I want to actually try on Heroic 2 on Tier 9 is Elites and Elite Masters. Well, we actually saw it earlier. I was fighting the Elite boss. I know it's a boss, so it's a little bit extra beefy Elite, but for the Elite rated boss that we were fighting, did not go well. I got maybe 10%. I forget exactly, but I took a screenshot so we know the number I got down to and like can get a rough percentage from that general estimation. But I'm seriously tempted to rerun that with the new weapons. And I think I'll have trait points to spend soon. I actually don't know. 3 more points I get continuous blood rage. Oh, that thing, really? That's such a boring trait to me for the last set bonus to impact your CC removal ability.
If we drive the orcs from Khazad-dûm,
Alright, what do y'all think? Yellow line for this then? I really enjoy red line gameplay more, but okay, I think it's Piper's turn to stream. Isn't there an NPC I have to talk to in here? Maybe.
We can only hope that Durin's Bane sleeps deeply.
Raging Blades. You mean that ability where you attack nearby enemies that are actually, I forget, it's like 27 feet or something. Yeah, 27 feet away from you. Raging Blade. I don't even think my apartment's 27 feet across. I think that's like the only ridiculous one. Raging Blade is randomly 8.2 meters, which is about 27 feet. I feel like Raging Blade is the Raging Blow is name of an ability in WoW, I think, for warriors. But anyway, to me that is like the quintessential lawnmower spec ability. Even though, of course, Fury does more damage. Oh yeah, Exchange of Blows probably does help. I think without difficulty, the problem is, why take the time to use that? It's reflecting like 34 damage here. And then does it reduce incoming damage? I forget. No, just reflect. When you can just do basically that. I almost killed just as fast as Redline does, because mobs die so fast anyway that it's not even that big of a difference. That one was a little bit slower, but I had to go through the whole rending blow animation, whatever that's called. Rend. I just like adding ing blow to the end of everything. We got Raging Blading Blow. Wow, I've actually gone through this really fast. For some reason, I'm just like on point with where I'm going in this. Hopefully I don't mess it up now that I've mentioned that, which I feel like this should work. Oh, that is actually terrifying. Let's find out where that goes. Yeah, I did not think that was right. Ah, that was a bad move. Let's see, we're right back here. There we are. This is where we needed to go, I believe. Yeah, I feel like they really could improve if they do a champion revamp or refresh, as they are liking to call it, with the Guardian and Beorning. I feel like... where is it? I don't even have it on my bars in yellow line. Merciful Strike. Okay. Oh, I do have it on my bars. I'm just blind. But, okay, that's probably grayed out. But Merciful Strike, I really feel like could be improved to be more like an Execute. I think the Ornings actually have an ability called Execute, as bad as it is. They do have that. And I don't know, I think there's potential to make that a little bit more interesting to use. I was going to say, the developers seem to love damage over time effects and bleeds, so they could have it do that, but that wouldn't really make sense as an Execute, but maybe as a Merciful Strike still. What cat is my favorite? I cannot pick favorite cats. What I can say is I like them in different ways, like Lexi does not bother me nearly as much, but sometimes she bothers me in different ways. For some reason, the way Lexi is, I feel a lot more bad for her if I'm not paying attention to her. Whereas for Piper, I'm just like, whatever. But I think because she doesn't want attention as frequently,
Balin came, but we have heard no word from him.
I feel the need to give it to her when she wants attention more. What I do like with Piper, though, as far as the annoying me, maybe bothering me, is that she basically sleeps right on my chest at night. Or not, kind of my side, I guess, but
If it were not for the prospect
she
of
sleeps on me at night, whereas Lexi does not. Lexi used to, when it was like really cold inside, I would sometimes wake up and she'd be on top of the blankets, but since it doesn't get that cold here, she doesn't really, and I don't have a giant, basically, blanket for it over me. Do I want this? It's an upgrade of stats over hammers, but I don't like daggers. But I'm going to replace these weapons anyway. I don't want the earring, though, so we just go with dagger and replace the hammer. More crit. Oh, I don't have enough room for this. The good news, we have town services right at our fingertips. Oh, hopefully I don't want any of this armor that I am totally selling. Wait a minute. I don't want to get rid of the spear. I like spears too much. There we go. Oh, the dagger actually does turn into a hammer. That's pretty nice. And then I got like a tracery or something? Yes, I sure did. Well, we'll use that.
we have heard no word from him.
So with your legendary items, for dual wield versus two-handed weapons, unfortunately, two-handed weapons is pretty much always going to be better than dual wield. Dual wield, you have to rely on having a really good off-handed weapon, which used to actually be okay with the old ally system. I was kind of passable and in certain scenarios could actually be preferable depending on your class spec and what your goal is with your weapons. That last point might seem silly, but essentially with the old system, you could, for example, as a yellow line Beorning, use a one-handed weapon, one-handed legendary weapon, and then dual wield for stats. That would just give you more stats for your character. Whereas if you wanted more damage, two-handed weapon would be better on the Beorning. Now, with the modern system, since you get so many stats on your legendary anyway, it perhaps has less of an effect. You still get those extra stats, though, from the offhand, but the damage definitely outweighs the old system. I could see Yellow Beornings actually still using a one-handed weapon and dual wielding, though. For some reason, I hadn't really thought of that. I just kind of escaped me there that still is actually applicable with the new system. But you do get a lot more damage with the new, well, with the, yeah, new allies. And as far as I know, offhands haven't caught up, but if anybody knows for 140, since I haven't played an offhand character at 140, I don't think the offhand weapons have come close to catching up, because they have to make the allies powerful enough that you don't want an alternative.
Will it be enough?
Oh, back to Broger. Or Berwin, whoever we're talking to, one of them. They're just a bunch of bros to me. You can probably get away with dual wielding. I prefer dual wielding, but I'm going to try two-handed weapon, because it has been a while since I've actually used two-handers. All my low-level characters, if they can dual wield, I like 99% of the time dual wield just because I prefer it. What am I doing? Oh, Shadow Wars, we have to go back down there. Again, sometimes I act like I played this game before and done this Walls of Moria before. You can pretty much do whatever you want at LOTRO. If you want to raid with dual wielding, you can. I don't know how successful you will be, and depending who you raid with, you might get kicked out. Hopefully. I mean, I think in certain scenarios it'd be less of a kicked out and more just not invited. But if you have a kin where they don't care at all, I could see a bunch of unoptimized characters that maybe dual wield instead of two-handed, or just do the unoptimal choice if they just prefer it, could get through tier 1 of the LOTRO endgame instances, group instances. It might not be anymore, but I know when the legendary item system first came out, the new LIs were just such a huge increase over the old ones that the two-handed was a lot better, not just over the old one, but also over the regular offhand weapons. But yeah, it definitely could be a little bit closer than it used to be. Like, I really have not kept up with level 140 in certain scenarios, and I think gear and the different optimal choices, I would say, for classes, I've definitely not kept up with as well at 140 as I did at 130, 120.
Is it in me to
Mainly.
do great deeds, as you do?
Which I will plan to eventually have a video actually on why that is. Wow, 2 more. Those are a whole lot of people getting their allies here.
Someone or something has put the fear
Ooh,
of
tactical
fire
crit
in these
chance, my favorite.
walls. It is time, friend. Doom away.
Oh wow, are you ready to do this? Alright then. See, this always goes by faster than I think. I was like, maybe I'll get this done in 2 hours. I should get this done in 2 hours. Any advice with starting to play LOTRO Epic Dragon? Well, being an Epic Dragon is a good start. Otherwise, play at your own pace. Depending what you're interested in, LOTRO, I think a lot of people tend to enjoy it with a slower pace and not so much rushing to endgame content. But like with most MMOs and games, you can basically play your way. Hopefully that sounds like good advice for starting LOTRO. Maybe I could make a video on that. I've never really thought about it. Usually tips, like I have a 7 beginner tips or something like that video that I've done, well, not that recently anymore, but I think all of it would still be applicable. But having maybe a recommendations video that's less on technical and more on stuff like that might not be a terrible idea. I don't know if people would find it helpful, because I also hate telling people how to play, which was exactly kind of the point of I was just telling you to play your way. Oh yeah, a lot of content. Yeah, it depends how much content you want to do. Some people would recommend getting theirs the experience disabler. So if you're actually interested in doing a lot of the content on level, some people pick up the pocket item that disables their experience gain so you don't level up, but that way you can stay on level while questing through a whole bunch of different zones. But then some people recommend just following the book quests. I know for me, I'm not the biggest fan of the bring repaired pickaxes to war. Okay, I think I'm headed to the east. I stopped paying attention. But yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't enjoy LOTRO as much if I focused just on the book quests. I find book quests to be a lot better at higher levels. But at the lower levels, I think just the way the game was designed back then, they were all over the place, especially as you got to like level 40 to 50. They were basically all over the place and involved a lot of traveling and story, which is okay if you enjoy that. But for me, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But yeah, a lot of the content you do while leveling now, as opposed not quite what it used to be, but it doesn't really matter. There are a couple important unlocks at like certain points from doing certain pieces of content, but a lot of them don't really matter anymore. So you can pick and choose what content you want to run, what zones you want to level in. If you just want to like, just for example, if I level a character in modern day LOTRO, say I go through Era of the Wind, get level 15, I do Bree to level 20, I do North Downs to level 32 or something, and then maybe I do Troll Shaws to 40, I do Angle of Methathel to 45, and then I do Eregion to 50 with Walls of Moria, and maybe fit in like, I don't know, some missions as a gap filler. Just, that's the type of way I think about content in LOTRO, is that character can go through an adventure like that. Maybe another can go through Cardalin to level 30, then do Evendim to 40, and then maybe I do like the first quarter of Ingmar, and then round out getting close to 50 with Vorkel. Doradin, the recent Dwarf Warden I've been leveling, I forget what I did to get to 30. Oh yeah, I did Yondershire from like 20 to 25, but I got to like 27-ish maybe with some missions with that. So I forget what I did before Yondershire. I think I just crafted to level up to that point, but did Yondershire, then Evendim, and then Misty Mountains. So there's a lot of options, and I can totally understand why that would be perhaps overwhelming with all the different content, but you just have a lot of flexibility, and it really doesn't matter, I guess is the point that I'm saying. I don't know. I don't remember one near the Black Gate, to be honest. I did Mordor somewhat recently, and I don't remember there being a forced death there. I've heard there's one in Mirkwood, but I honestly don't remember it. I know people have been talking a lot about the one in Ingmar, which I guess would be the Sarah Oakheart one. I forget if Broger's over here. We have to go back to the east. Okay, he is down here. Or back to the west. The other east. Once you go so far east, you're in the west. I'm doing a great job of clearing this rubble. These two massive boulders. But I wonder why. Such a random spot to just clear rubble. Oh yeah, so if you enjoy doing all the quests and professions, then the in the LOTRO store there is I don't know what it's actually called in the store, but it's like XP Disabler or something like that. Of course you have to buy it. It's like 100 LOTRO points or something. But if you search, yeah, XP Disabler, Experience Disabler, it gives you a pocket item that will stop XP gain. I know it's so weird from a traditional MMO perspective that you'd want to stop your leveling to do stuff on level, but yeah, you do have that option. Yes, with the mount, you can now get the riding trait and a free starter mount. At level 20, you can get a faster mount, and from festivals and things like that, you can get faster mounts, but at level... when you're either in the intro, or if you go to Mossword out of the intro, I believe is how it would work. In Swanfleet, you can go to this Mossword camp, and I think you can pick up a quest to get the free riding if you did not do that during the intro, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure, because I haven't actually tested that, and I've heard mixed reports on the availability of that. I wish you could just hide your UI, but every time it does like a reset scene here, it re-shows the UI, and I can't pan the camera. Also, okay, I can turn floaty names off. I think it's pretty interesting how they try to create basically a cinematic without actually taking your character out of this. So however your character is positioned, they stay positioned that whole time. Yeah, if you're doing a hardcore character, you have to get around those forced deaths somehow. I think with the way LOTRO is, I don't think it should be a problem. Like if you have a forced death during a story quest like that, like a forced one, then that should be a problem. Now, one interesting thing is if you jump down the well to the waterworks, I believe that's a forced death, even though it's totally an option to jump, but you get a deed for completing it. So does completing that deed like make you fail the challenge, or is that an acceptable one? At some point you have to draw the line. And another thing I've discussed a lot is how lag can impact a hardcore challenge in LOTRO. How can just different things like that. Some people have said like in group content it shouldn't count, but also maybe then you shouldn't run group content where you would die. Maybe that's your own risk type thing. There are just so many considerations for a hardcore run in LOTRO. That's why my tentative plan for hardcore runs in LOTRO are more going to be low-level challenges. Even though I do have that hardcore captain series going, but I'm thinking trying to get each class to level 20 without dying. How many attempts, how long does it take for the different classes that I make and all that sort of stuff. So I could, that might be an upgrade at this point. 10 vitality. How about the bracelet? Can the bracelet be good? Okay, that's better than my little one.
We will reclaim the lost halls of Khazad-dûm.
I didn't want to think about that chest piece, even though I don't think it's good. Didn't I? Oh no, that's, hold up. Chapter 9. There we go. The Fall of Moria. I have already filtered that. Yeah, I have that quest accepted. Clearly that did not work too well with filtering then. Also, that is my cat drinking my own drink. I don't think y'all can quite see her. There she is. I'm a big supporter of bad behavior. Anyway, we have to talk to an elf or something up here, right? Oh, nope, it's still a dwarf. I thought we might be able to talk to an elf. Alright, what are we getting? Oh yeah, we'll get the great sword. Actually, I really like... I like axes more than hammers. I don't like that axe, though. I actually don't know on a champion. See, if this were a two-handed axe, like if they had a bigger two-handed version, but really sword's just going to be the best. We'll try sword. That was one of the points of this, was I was going to actually try a sword. That is a weird... What's the part of the sword between the handle and the blade? That thing, does anybody know the name of that? That's a weird whatever that is. Do not reforge your ally until you are instructed to do so. Okay, I don't even have access to it here, but I'm guessing that has caused issue. Also, we're at the point where I'm going to spend more mithril coins to quickly travel. I have 553 mithril coins. I gotta spend them at some point. And yes, I'm just justifying to myself, not even to you all.
Grey is the shadow upon my heart. My hearts cannot sing today. The sorrows of the elder.
Wow. You do that so many times. Oh, not the bear. I'm used to sparrow. Ox, maybe? Let's see if we can get... I think at this level, I'd rather more physical mastery.
Might you spare a moment?
I think that's decent enough.
I am at your service.
Reforged. Reforged. What should I call it? A guard? Oh, as in cross guard, sword guard. That makes sense, I suppose. I'm blanking on names. Swordian? Yeah, we'll do Swordian. We can come up with something better later. I am terrible at naming things. Okay, back to Rothwald, who I am pretty sure is in Ekedunen. Actually, I forgot I set my milestone, so I didn't have to do that. Oops.
We will reclaim the lost halls of Khazad-dûm. We will reclaim the lost halls of Khazad-dûm. I hope you know what you're doing, friend.
Dire is the creature called the Watcher.
But anyway, we have the two-handed sword, wrong slot, and we have a tracery, 2 masteries, and a craft. Heraldry, that's what I meant. So we got that. Gives us a whole bunch of stats. It's already pretty much more stats than any of these weapons would give. And then I do have wild attack damage, of course. 45%. That's the thing with traceries. They actually have a punch to them, which I would actually argue is maybe not a good thing. Also, we're really experiencing the RNG of the system. Dire need cooldown and power cost, something I don't really even want. Dire need cooldown and power cost yellow version. I do for dire need. That's not even dire need, that's fight on. What's dire need? Is it even worse than I thought? Is dire need completely a blue line thing? Is that like the bubble or something? Oh no. Sudden defense. Is dire need... Which one's dire? There's dire need. Yeah, that is even worse than I thought. I only get the vitality from that. Good evening, Bella. Honestly, I don't think there is a way to get weapon auras. I honestly haven't paid the most attention because I just use... They do look really nice if you pay attention to them. But... yeah, I'm just happy to have what I have from the expansion, so I haven't even bothered to look. I don't think there are other sources, though. I think that's a big thing for them to do to get you to buy the expansions. We gotta see if we can beat my 6.5k crit with which, with a two-handed weapon. I would hope so. 5k. Actually, it's best to queue up a few of these. I think it increases your crit damage, not just your crit chance, but if you use so many strike skills in a row, that will like tier up a buff that empowers Remorseless Strike. So it is optimal to use about 5 strike abilities other than Remorseless Strike, then use Remorseless Strike. That's Remorseless Strike having the short cooldown. It just makes it frequently usable, but usually Brutal Strikes and Ferocious Strikes especially are going to be more frequently used. I got 5.9k there. And then I think at level 56 is when we get the next Reforge, because I think that your first Reforge there counts as the level 51 Reforge. Even though you're not level 51, they have it unlocked for people that do this before 51. So it is a bit odd with that. And once again, we're done with this. I remember the same thing happening, I think, on my Hunter, who I did this fairly recently on.
Perhaps there is
I kind of got through it a lot quicker than expected, which is what I planned the stream. I planned the stream doing about an hour of this, hour of acquiring the allies, then half an hour or so before the allies. I don't think I quite spent that long before the allies, and I didn't spend a whole hour on getting the allies. And then it was going to be like half an hour after that. But I think we are ready to test. We have the allies, by the way, so we got that all good and covered. Character's gear is mostly the same. I am back on the difficulty system, by the way. But I think it's time to test Will of the Willow again. I am 1 level higher, but we'll still do on level. Actually, I'm 2 levels higher. I did this back when I was 45. And we'll see how it goes. Once again, I'll get the summoning horn just to get to the first boss. And then we'll see if I do more than 1k DPS this fight. Wow, I actually did 1k DPS that one as well. Also, I forgot to summon the NPC. Need help, please. So I've gotten basically 0... Oh, my health is low. I was hoping it wouldn't go that low that quick. Wow, we're somehow surviving. Okay, don't mind my newbiness here. Look, I get the newbiness out of the way. Am I going to die from that poison? Nope. I didn't use buffs last time, so I will not use buffs this time. I will resist. And if the NPC isn't bad, we will do the old sneak method. Okay, these guys still pull. That's fine. Oh, we're just gonna pull everything, I think. That's my air conditioner draining. I was just not ready to hear that. Woke the cat up too. Oh, 15th anniversary had a bundle. Was that a light bundle, perhaps? I'm kind of remembering that now. Alright, NPC gone. You all can verify that. So, let's go to my very first fight. Oh, are those most recent? They sure are. So I guess it doesn't store that far back as a limit. Oh well. But we'll have combat analysis up. It's really bothering me that it's just floating there randomly, so I'll move it off to the side. And we'll see if I do more than I did. Oh yeah, I cannot do a spear, even cosmetically and offhand. That would be amazing if you could, but you cannot. Infinite loading screen bug, I definitely have. And as far as I know, the only fix is to Alt F4 or otherwise close LOTRO somehow and then retry. But last time, I think we got this guy about 10-ish% down. Maybe a little bit more. He had 114k out of 136k. So actually in 2 levels, he's gained quite the health boost. Wow. But we got about 20-something k down. So we'll see if I can do better this time. I didn't get the most practice. I think wild attack builds a crit chance buff or something like that. So it is worth using every once in a while outside of just fervor. I feel like I'm doing a lot more damage. Oh. Wither and Rot I might have been able to avoid. I didn't even bother thinking about paying attention to this guy's mechanics. But I had about 30% more damage. So, and this very... I feel like I've used this word too much lately, but non-rigorous test. I did better post-LI than I did pre-LI, if you could imagine that. This did not defy expectations. No grand revelations there, but sometimes it's good to confirm what you think. Good old Flame Strike from the Eye of Sauron did like 1.2k damage to me. Although that's actually really funny. It does shadow damage. That does not look... That looks like the opposite of shadow damage. If it were purple colored, maybe. But yeah, I'll go ahead and try this again. I'll try at least to pay attention to mechanics a little bit more this time. I don't have quite as much access to heals as I did previously, though, so he might just outright kill me. Actually, I feel my fervor gain is quite terrible right now. Yeah, this one I think that is one of the ones I could have run away from, but even without optimal cooldowns, no second heal there. Fight on is what it would have been, which actually restores a lot of morale over its duration. Actually 30%, that's still a decent bit though. At first I read that as basically 60%. I was thinking 20 times just because there were so many 2s and 20s. Now, for anybody curious, I am running this tier 3, the solo version, but you can summon this NPC. And I think now would be a great time to show the true power of Marigold Boffin. Although I don't think she'll save from one-shots. And while she moves very fast, she does not travel very fast. Actually, I have cooldowns available. I can still use them. But look at that, my health is magically staying high. Again, that does nothing for one-shots, but... Also, my DPS is like 2 point something. It's a lot higher, basically. It's about 50% more than it was previously, and I feel like I'm basically button mashing. I don't think I'm quite optimal here. Although at least that's one of the good things about Champion and some of the easier classes is even when you're off, you're not like that far off. There's a lot of forgiveness. Okay, I actually don't see. Here it is. Merciful Strike. It just does so bad damage. Even with the guaranteed crit and the deep wounds bleed, it's still not good. Because I don't think deep wounds stack, so it's like you get one of those and you're basically set. I think it'd actually be reasonable to get... I think more ranks does increase the damage, so that's probably decent. Especially at high levels when you have tons of trait points, but something worth thinking about. Maybe only one trait point in that to a certain extent. Oh, I don't even have the trait though. I talked about Wild Attack eventually giving a increased crit chance. You have to get a crit with Wild Attack. I thought there was some more RNG. I didn't think it was guaranteed at least. But yeah, with trait points, I'm really curious. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to save up for something like Battle Frenzy at this point. Because I think right now I basically perfectly finished the red line. Anyway. Big difference there. Dan's Adventures, you said you finished your event. Snore Bingo wanted to run tier 5 to 3 man if I wanted to do that. I will probably have to pass. I think at this point it's a bit late for me to run that. Hello, Stands in the Fire. Yeah, if y'all did not know, normally I join Ken events, but this one they were mostly doing stuff for Virtue XP that wasn't that useful for me, and I've been trying to do the stream for a couple days now. So I really wanted to do it. I almost missed it. It was like 7:30 or something that I finally got the stream scheduled and got like the thumbnail done. It was like mentally prepared for it. And I was like, it would be so easy to just not do this stream. But is that really in the spirit of playing on high landscape difficulty? Oh, what a epic save of a heal for Marigold Boffin wherever she is. Way back there. But in that time, after I scheduled the stream, I was making a ton of progress on stuff. Or being productive. That's a better way to put it. This is very random. Well, not too random, but I've just had the perfect idea for a video on Yellow Line Champion versus Red Line Champion and settling the debate of which is best. And basically, the premise of this video is that I am fighting a single mob, perhaps a training dummy, and in fighting that single mob, I compare the DPS of the Red Line and Yellow Line. And that should be an easy victory for the Red Line. Okay, where is Marigold? I don't see her. Hopefully, maybe she got stuck outside. That would not be ideal. I don't think I can interrupt. I need to actually save my interrupt. I think at this point I have to finish this, though. Is there any... Oh, there's Marigold. Good job. Great help. Something feels off. I think we go this way. Yeah. Okay. This fight, it actually is really important to save your interrupt to interrupt. I know it's so fun to animation cancel, but maybe I can use one or two of those, but you really gotta interrupt that Morgul Blade. There is a Woe of the Willow quest chain in the Old Forest. It's like level 15, 20-ish. The instance opens at level 20, but it's like a solo duo 3-man instance, so I'm running the solo version with tier 3 landscape difficulty. I did this, so at the start of the stream, I did this as a sort of benchmark to see how far I got on the first boss before I got my new shiny allies, and then I did it again after. And I didn't get that far, but with the help of the NPC, the OP Marigold Boffin, it suddenly becomes a whole lot easier. Okay, make sure I upload it. There I go, using Shift 1 because that is what I do. Yep, and there it is. I don't have inductions turned on for this character, I guess. Oh, it didn't one-shot me, good. The OP Marigold, actually saving from one-shots, it seems. Okay, we're gonna get a ton of these spirits, but that's okay. As long as Marigold Boffin doesn't die, then all is well, I think. Yeah. Oh, apparently I was in the Flame Strike area. There we go, finally got some spirits down. Interrupted the blade. But yeah, now I'm just finishing it to finish it. Or trying to. Don't need to believe in me, you just need to believe in me. Oh, she's actually low on health. This is bad. Okay. This is really bad. Hopefully she has self-heals. She's done so much to heal me. There we go. Got it.
Isn't that...
Old Grey Willow Man, mind you your mischief. Go now back to sleep, and don't be awaking. Ha ha!
I think that was me that woke her up.
Tom sees no difference.
No, she's going to get a snack.
I learn something new about my friend Tom every day. Well, never mind.
Anyway, what is Bombadil's gift? It is a crate of cooking materials. and other creative cooking materials. Won't turn that down. Even though I don't really use those. I might just use these Virtue XPs. This character can use it, he's okay. They're pretty small and taking up a lot of inventory space. Oh, do we have a bonus Virtue XP thing going on? No, that is from that is actually from being on Fearless difficulty. Get plus 5% Virtue XP. Easy, extra, however much I got from that. Anyway, that was pretty solid. I honestly don't know that I have much more for this character, though. That was pretty much it. I was hoping the stream would be at least 2 hours. I thought I had 2 hours worth of content planned, but now I'm at like a stop. I already ran Woe of the Willow the full way through just to have something more. We could do more, yeah. I don't know that I want to do Moria. I wonder, could this character... See, I have so many different characters and so many different ideas for different characters. I'm trying to... Like, if I'm thinking about what zones I want to play and LOTRO and what adventures I want to go on. Well, I already have my Minstrel, who I honestly don't feel like playing much right now, going through Inadwaith. Well, could I go to Lothlorien? I recently tried that on my Lore Master. I'm kind of iffy on Lothlorien right now. It's fun, but I don't want to level there. Moria, kind of. Moria doesn't sound too bad, but I don't like the first part of Moria. I don't hate it, but I think zones like the Flaming Deeps and Redhorn Lodes, those to me are about my favorite part of Moria. Durin's Way used to be, but for some reason the quest in the Chamber of the Crossroads and this area just feel off. For some reason I feel like they actually, back during the very difficult days of Moria, were a lot more exciting to me. I don't know if it's because they actually changed the quests, but like the structure and way you get quests, how many you get, all that sort of stuff, other than just it being easier than it used to be. It just doesn't excite me as much as it used to be. That used to be my favorite part of Moria, actually, this kind of swath here. But I think nowadays it really is Redhorn Lodes and Flaming Deeps, but I don't know that I just want to do those. Like, I could get my character set up for that, but he's level 47. He's not even close to being where he can get the quests even. I do know, though, that my kin has a low-level group going and potentially could be running, I think, the Forgotten Treasury, which I think you can get those quests at 49, maybe? But I forget exactly. But that's something I could prepare for. So there's a lot of different options. And what I'm thinking is that I'll go to Bree, and maybe we can do... Oh, I should set my milestone to Moria, just in case I actually want to do that on this character. But I'm thinking we could just do some missions. Missions are great for that. Easy content. My kin and I are on Landreval. Used to be a Nor. We are open to new members. I don't think we're ever specifically looking for new members, but we're also not specifically not looking for new members. It seems like my YouTube channel is the biggest recruiter of my kin because we don't really do too much advertisement for new people anymore, but we have had, as I think I mentioned earlier in the stream, we've had a few people join that I'm less familiar with, and I know we have had a few that are viewers. That's perfectly fine if you want to join, if you're on Langeball. Actually, here is my kin website. That's probably a good place to get started for anybody curious if you are on Langeball and interested in joining them. I know usually, again, when we have a kin event going on, I'm joined with them, but I did not end up doing that today. There's a lot on, though. I don't know if anybody here has ever sous vide cooked chicken before, but sous vide is just something I found that is really nice for meat like that. And I'm really curious to see how cooking chicken overnight goes. If it will be any good or not. What do I want to do? We turned in the one mission I had. I could use an XP boost if I really want to get the Forgotten Treasury quests. I think you can technically pick them up at level 49, but it might be one of those weird situations where it's actually 54. But it might also be like 51 or something if it's level 56 quests. Seeing if the LOTRO wiki had the quests for it. Level 56 it looks like. So I'd have to get to 51 to do that. And you'd have to actually do a little bit of the zone quests. But if I wanted to try to prepare for that. Sous vide steak. If there's ever a cheap steak, then I will eventually try that. And same with pork. Pork can sometimes be a little bit closer to the price of chicken, but usually I just get cheap chickens. Plus I use chicken in a lot of other stuff, like this is actually mainly for chicken and rice soup that I'm going to cook tomorrow, and then I cooked rice for during the stream that I need to put up. Anyway, we have missions. We can do... I feel like I always run the Menace of Sut Warden because it's so exciting, but I also feel like that is one I actually don't like. I think Assault on Threshold Bridge. That should be good. We are going to be on tier 3. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to be best off with the yellow line here. Oh, this might actually be the wrong one. I think I wanted to do the other Trestle Bridge one. Oh, wow. Where you are, pork goes on sale a lot for cheaper, even often cheaper than chicken. I'm not the biggest pork fan, though, but it's just like, it's one of those things that I'd be interested in testing cooking that way. Wow. Might actually be best off in the red line for this if we're doing this one. Gang leader. Fire starter. More like death starter. I couldn't think of anything for the gang leader. There we go. Gang leader, more like death leader. I like to call myself a not picky eater, but I just have strong preferences for certain things. But there's a lot of food that I just like don't really care much about, which doesn't mean I dislike it or want to eat it, but it's just not my preference when there's alternatives. Wrong button. That's the one I wanted. Too late anyway. Even on tier 3, this mission, we do have the NPC cheater with us, but still pretty decent here. Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of spicy food either. For me, it's actually, I would say, less my stomach and more my mouth. See, I like to taste things, and my mouth is, how would I describe it? Like, I have strong flavor buds. Is that what they call flavor buds? I think so. Don't you love that when there's like a totally normal term for something that's so often used, and once you say it, you're like, is that actually a thing? But yeah, we'll go with strong flavor buds because even stuff that people say has no taste, I can taste it. So like just plain white rice, to me that has a taste. Also, for a weird one, I actually really like just plain steamed broccoli. I feel like that's another one that I here described that doesn't like have any seasoning or flavor to it, but I actually like just the broccoli flavor. Oh, I didn't loot the chest. Oh well. Okay, the big thing that I actually don't like is cheese. I think the most cheese that I can handle is sometimes nachos and cheese. And then mac and cheese, like Kraft mac and cheese. If it's got stringiness to it, that's usually an instant turn off. Grease plus cheese don't work well together to me, which is basically any non-Kraft mac and cheese, non-box macaroni, basically. Okay, let's do the other trestle bridge one. Brussels sprouts. I'm actually not sure. I feel like I've tried Brussels sprouts at some point, but I don't know what they actually taste like. Hello, Mongos.
What do you need?
Eventually stuff will spawn, I promise. I'll go ahead and start building my fervor. Does red cost fervor, really? Or am I just, yeah, I'm just losing combat fervor. I think we have to, there we go. I don't know how well this would go without the NPC help, to be honest, for something like this. Because I actually am taking a decent bit of damage, but all that healing is from Radril. 828 every 3 seconds. No, oh no, I almost read that as no butter on Brussels sprouts makes them even better. But your name is no, and you're saying that butter on Brussels sprouts makes them better. I feel like butter can make a lot of things better though. I was on a kick for like a week or two of fried rice with butter. And a lot of butter. In fact, I think butter might have been the main ingredient and not rice. I'm going to use a heal. Where is Radril? Clearly not here to save me. I guess that's a problem with playing Yellow Line on tier 3. Normally that would be absolutely no problem. And now there is actually some consideration for what I do. Also, let's get my Cinderhawk out. I can roleplay as a lore master. These mobs are really... they aren't Yellow Line friendly right now. Like, I'm trying to get a little bit of Yellow Line gameplay, and even if I prefer Red Line, these mobs are doing me no favor, though, in creating a favorable environment. But see, when they do actually group up like that, they get mowed down pretty quickly. It's almost as if that's what the Yellow Line is meant for, not little straggler mobs that are running away so I can't even AoE them when there are 2 of them. And then I feel super inefficient trying to use my AoE abilities on them. So butter is the bread and butter of cooking. That is true. Wind's ring. No thanks. Guess I should save that for ancient script. Oh. Yeah, if you drop a full frontal AoE and then a bunch of enemies, just step right in front of you in front of the arc. Like, I think this one's a frontal AoE, Fury of Blades. That's like the perfect one for that. Alright, let's try this again. Hopefully Radril doesn't get caught wherever she got caught last time. And we're actually... I'm gonna step it up a notch here. Okay, she actually is joining the fight this time, so that's good. I still don't know if it's enough. I think there was one time that I actually... Wow, that was upside. That was not intentional. Let's go. I was supposed to do a big satisfying Fury of Blades there. They died too quickly. Blade Wall, even post-nerf, does too much damage. I think the Rend Bleed is actually not terrible either. Okay, it actually isn't that great. Never mind. Okay, that was slowing me down. Yeah, I kind of forgot that I have Horn of Gondor, to be honest. Maybe because I'm not on Gondor. Something made me fast. Oh, I used sprint. That would make sense. Good to hear that Red Captain is fun. I really haven't done much with it above level like 7 or whatever my hardcore captain that I made is. And above, or my 130 captain I just have not actually settled and done anything reasonable on. Kind of tentatively planning a stream focused on that 130 captain to get his legendary items set up, actually play the red line a little bit. I think one of the big problems I've run into with Captain and doing the content that I have done on him, the very limited content, is it's kind of been hard to test stuff. I think partially because he is just so squishy. Especially compared to what it seemed like he used to be. But yeah, I'm thinking... Invaders on the Delph, Brooding in the Depths. I forget what Invaders on the Delph is. Well, we'll try it. Is this going to be where we go to the 2 camps? Hopefully not. I think it is. They don't even let me see what the mission is until I do all this stuff. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, that's fine. We'll do this mission, but I'm probably going to wrap up this stream quite early today. Not early time-wise. I think pretty normal time-wise, but early. Not a long stream today. Main ult. Maybe for main ult you will get some in-game content on it. But it's kind of interesting. I think Captain is definitely a much better solo experience than it used to be, but it's always been so much of a very group-focused class where prior to the solo stance, really, everything was dedicated to being a group player, buffing your group, essentially. Which just did not lend well to going through the landscape at a reasonable pace. A lot of people like Captain Solo. I could definitely see why. Seems like, I mean, all the classes you could, I think, make a good argument for being a good immersive, like, role-playing your character type thing. But, yeah, Captain, definitely not bad at that. And it just wasn't the best, though, for solo leveling. So now it's at least more on par with other classes in that way. Yeah, I do remember way back in the day. I don't know quite 2009 back in the day, but yeah, I remember it was even worse. I think my least favorite class way back in the day, close to the 2009 times, would have been Champion. Because despite what we have here, Champion used to be such a slow class with just the way gameplay works in LOTRO. It had huge animation delay as well, which they have, as far as I can tell, pretty much eliminated. And if they haven't completely eliminated it, it's at least very hard to notice. Like, I can't really perceive it. I talked about more. For anybody curious, I made a video that I actually tend to continue with other classes called Why Champion is Great. What used to be what I would consider probably, yeah, my least favorite class in the game was the very first class that I made a video called Why the Champion is Great. There was actually one clicker moment for me, was actually leveling this character. Which, wow, I just totally demolished that guy. Is it even using ferocious strikes there? Didn't do that much damage, but the good old devastating strike and clawmer wombo combo. That did him in. It's really making me question why it did so much damage. I think a little bit RNG with crits and the such too. Although it's probably a toss-up. I forget I also really dislike Burglar as well. Because this was, from my perspective, LOTRO was a relatively slow-paced game, but I also played Runekeeper, which was induction-based, and I didn't really notice the slowness as much on them. Warden a little bit, but also not quite as much. So I really noticed the supposed-to-be fast-paced Burglar class, at least that's the way I thought it was intended to be, always felt so slow to me as well. Meanwhile, classes like the Guardian, while they didn't do much damage, their gameplay was a lot faster because I think, if I remember correctly, at least at some point, they didn't have the animation delay that champions, burglars, etc., captains had. So I actually preferred, even way back in the day, when they were even worse at DPS than they are now, I actually preferred Guardian for just general leveling, doing damage, questing purposes, than Champion, Burglar, and the such. Yeah, LOTRO definitely doesn't have resources for a big animation revamp like WoW and WoD released. Actually, there are some animations in WoW though that I really don't like. In the modern day, I don't, in particular, I don't know if this is as much of a problem on other races, but I really notice it on the human male avatars. Like, the animations to me just got so much worse, actually. In particular for Mage is what I noticed it on, because that was my, like, one surviving human male character was, I think, mostly my Mage at that point. I think I definitely had some others, but I just noticed it a lot more on the Mage. And I very much so remember actively disliking that. I know I haven't played Dragonflight basically since the launch of that expansion. I got to the cap and finished all the leveling content or zone quest content that they had, but I actually really enjoyed the Dragonflight expansion in WoW. I just basically got my fill of it. It didn't take that long, but I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, it's maybe not the normal MMO experience, but it's kind of like playing an RPG, and I finished the RPG is what I feel like. I'm just completely satisfied from the experience, even though there's still tons of stuff I could do if I went back. I don't feel the need to. But again, that's not to say that Dragonflight was bad. I just feel like I'm done with it. I finished it. Aha, there we go. Oh, BFA and Shadowlands. Didn't play those. Actually, I tried BFA. I think I tried Shadowlands as well, because I was gifted that expansion. I think both of them. Actually, somebody got them both for me, and I did not like them. But Dragonflight, that one I liked. Dragonflight was the last expansion for me in WoW to give a chance. And the only reason I gave it so much of a chance is, yes, I played the pre-patch, and I really liked the pre-patch as well. Anyway, I think this is a good point for me to wrap up the stream. Nice early 2 hours. We got all the stuff done, all the testing, post LI, difficulty system, tier 3 on the champion, sort of. Even the Walls of Moria, I thought I was going to do normal quest set with difficulty system on. Nope, we have to save that for another day. We'll do, I mean Moria. That's the big thing I talked about. I could prepare for our Forgotten Treasury run and maybe try to get those quests. I'd have to do a bit of leveling, which maybe at this point I have tons of Destiny points. 391,000. I can go ahead and accelerate my XP so we can try to, I don't know, maybe at some point do a mid-week stream on the champion. That sounds fun to you all? I don't know. For some reason I'm in the mood for a champion. After playing it through tier 3, it's just, I think, really interesting to see how it goes, because I feel like it's one of the powerhouse classes for tier 3, even though it's not great for tier 9. So I'm excited to actually see in a normal quest set, but at least we got some more gameplay on the champion with tier 3. Got my LIs and did see they have a pretty sizable impact, even if they didn't get me from, they don't save me from one-shots from that boss, and they didn't push me over the edge in terms of damage, but in that particular case, definitely noticed the impact of them. I do prefer the old animations I had with either hammer or spear and hammer as what I had before that. So I don't know, maybe I'll make a new champion just to dual wield hammers and pretend I'm a shaman when we do our new champion character at some point for the hardcore challenge that I will eventually be doing on all the characters, on all the classes. But anyway, as far as this stream goes, I hope you all did enjoy it. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining, chatting, and watching, everyone.